G'day, cunts! Welcome to episode number 42 of the GreenCast, a podcast by me, Mr. GreenTex, where I ramble to myself like a madman in my bloody bedroom. And now the first thing you'd be wondering is, where the fuck did he go? What even is the consistency of this podcast anymore? And I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know, because there's been definitely times where, I've been considering making this a bi-weekly podcast, because my weeks, especially recently, have not been that very productive or, haven't been doing that much to really, constitute a podcast and filling an hour's worth or, 40 to 50 minutes worth of someone's time on me just rambling or finding someone else. But one of the biggest reasons, I've just been, dealing with, a lot of stuff lately, personal and physical and otherwise. Might get into the other stuff later on, but one of the big ones is essentially I just wasn't able to record for a week and a half or to 2 weeks straight because I get frequently a infection in my throat, specifically my tonsils, which is called tonsillitis, which is a pretty common, I don't know if I call it disease, but it's pretty common just infection that someone gets. My mum had it, and her mum before her had it, so they fucked me a bit and gave me those shit, genetics with the tonsils, apparently. And basically what tonsillitis is that your tonsils get, really inflamed, and, irritates your throat, and because of that, then, you start getting a stuffed nose, you start hacking up phlegm. It's fucking horrid. But the past, it's probably, 2 weeks ago at this point, I had the worst bout of tonsillitis that I've ever had in my fucking life, dude. Holy shit. It got to the point where my tonsils got so inflamed, it hurt to swallow my own fucking saliva, cunt. You realize how bad that is? I could hardly swallow water without being in pain or, anything. And because of that, I lost 4 kilos in 1 week, which I think is roughly 8, 9, maybe 10 pounds. I don't know. Fucking pounds are weird. But yeah, 4 kilos in a week, because I just couldn't eat without being in too much fucking pain, dude, and it was fucked. It's kind of a thing that I've just dealt with my entire life. It's just a thing that happens to me, maybe 2 to 3, maybe 4 times a year, just randomly throughout, and, just learn to deal with it, fucking live up strepsils, just numb the throat, and make sure I'm good. But yeah, this bout, I think, broke the camel's back. There's a straw that broke the camel's back, I should say, and, actually started looking into what I can fucking do about this. Because my mum had her tonsils taken out when she was late teens, I think, and she's much older now. And I'm just why don't I get my fucking tonsils out at this point? And so began the stage 1 of all this fuck around. So basically, because I am turning 21 this year, I had to double check and just, with insurance-wise on how I could go about getting my tonsils out. And basically, I found out that I'm covered under my parents' health insurance under the family package, up until I'm 21. Unless I am a full-time student studying, then it goes till I'm 25. But, see, the problem is that this happened a couple weeks ago. It's currently, I'm recording this on, mid-June. My birthday, and I turned 21 mid-July. So I had to go in, an uber panic mode on, finding a place, finding a doctor that can actually take out my tonsils in this fucking time frame, and also trying to sort out insurance, and Jesus fucking Christ. But, I had to, literally find a specialist that, in ENT doctor, which is an ear, nose, and throat specialist. I don't know why ears are bundled with throat, but that's just a weird fact, I guess. So I had to do a lot of Googling to try and find someone that was at least somewhat near me. There was one guy that was a suburb away, and I'm oh, fucking sweet, I'm sorted. And I called him, and he's yeah, sorry mate, we only operate on kids. And I'm thanks, I guess, and then just fucking hang up on him, because I'm just like, what? There's nothing on his website that he only operates on kids. So I'm like, fucking hell. And then the next one I found was like 35, 40 minutes away, and I just had no choice. I had to go see him. But to actually book it in, I had to do a consultation with him first, which fair enough, but that one, apparently, it hardly, my insurance wouldn't cover properly. So that one was $190 or $180 for that consultation, which was literally just, I went in, he's just like, hey, how many times a year do you get tonsillitis? This many. And he's like, that's pretty much all I need to know. And then he had to look down me through it, and he went, yep, there's definitely an infection there. And also, apparently, I've got rather large tonsils, which, I don't know, kind of explains explains why I couldn't swallow my own spit without being in pain. So, yeah, that was that. It's basically just like me going in and just be like, I'm healthy, yes, get this out of my head, it hurts. And, went to the reception, and they're just like, here's this. But thankfully, we also have, this, I don't know if it's not health insurance, like, government, like, healthcare. Healthcare, that's the one. Yeah, in Australia, our healthcare is called Medicare. Basically, it'll pay back a percentage of, like, doctor's visits and whatnot. So thankfully, I got, like, half my money back from that consultation back in through Medicare. So that was nice. But, however, then, even though I am still covered under insurance, they also were just like, yeah, pretty much we're free, like, whenever. We do it on, like, the start of the week, we can fit you in. And I'm like, alright, cool. And then they handed me the quote. The insurance will cover pretty much everything, until the receptionist pointed out this one thing on the sheet that's just like, oh yeah, sorry, by the way, there's a $300 fee that you're going to have to pay 7 days before the surgery. Now, this doesn't have an item number, so you can't claim it on anything. And I'm like, oh, cool. So even though I'm covered by insurance, I'm still going to be like $400 out of pocket at this fucking point, which I can't afford to be much more, so I just have no choice into having to go through with this. And so I'm like, oh Christ, but I have some money put aside, but I don't really want to spend it on this thing. So thankfully, that leads me into the next part where a week later, I get hit up by the guy that I did some work experience with at the end of my university degree. And every now and then he hits me up just being like, hey, I've got too much work, here's some editing stuff, here's your fucking rate, I'll pay you. And then I'm like, quite happily just like, oh yeah, please, Gib. So, I won't go into details about the task overly, but it was like 5 like promotional videos for this place. And yeah, I was supposed to get the footage last Thursday, and then they got pushed around until Saturday night, and then, oh no, yes, so I went to go meet him on Saturday night, and he originally was just going to copy the footage over to my hard drive. Bought my hard drive, it was formatted exFAT32, which means it can read both Windows and Mac, and I'm like, fucking set. Until I showed up, and the guy I was meeting to copy the footage with, I have a laptop, but it's like from 2012, and it doesn't even have USB 3, so it just wouldn't copy in like any reasonable time, so I just left it at home. He has the latest MacBook Air. It's only USB-C, and this poor guy does not have a dongle, so we're like shit. So he just gave me more like a rundown of the project and whatnot. And we just had to meet up again, like, the next day or day after to get all, like, the hard drives off him and SD cards. But then, like, yeah, he told me the rate, and I'm like, hell yes, I'm set. I can use this money or, like, a portion of this that I'm going to get paid for my surgery. And I'm set. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Well, the original deadline was Wednesday. It's currently Thursday. This deadline was for the 5 videos. I haven't received the first draft of the first video yet. And I'm kind of getting really fucking worried, because I really need this money for the surgery. Oh my fucking lord, dude. So yeah, I'm kind of in this weird state where, like, the entire week he's been like, oh, I'll email you when I get this through. So I've just been, like, fucking around at home waiting to get this goddamn like email so I can start editing this thing and so I can get paid so I can book my surgery. And one of the worst things about this as well is, even though yes, I'm getting these tonsils out of my head and that means I won't get tonsillitis ever again, he was also saying that I'm basically going to be out of commission for 2 solid weeks. So I'm going to have to work real fucking hard to build up a giant backlog so you guys still have content. Because, you know, taking breaks, as I very much know, YouTube does not appreciate that as much as people say. Unless you're retardedly big like JonTron. But yeah, I am not, so I don't have a choice, just have to keep making content. Don't know if it'd be at the consistency it is for the last like month, but you know, you'll still have content, don't worry about it. I've got an editor, at least assistant editor, that'll help me out. So yeah, and that was also a hilarious thing too. He's just like, your job doesn't involve like talking heavily, does it? And I'm like, that's pretty much exactly what it what it is. And so I'm like, oh fucking Jesus. So yeah, that's gonna have to be a thing that I'm gonna have to work on the next couple of weeks and just wait for this goddamn thing to come around, which, you know, it's no fault of the dude that I'm doing it through, it's the client that he's passing it to me through and fucking me around a bit. But yeah, that was that. Also, last week-ish, I went to the premiere of the last short film that I edited, which was real fun. I'm not going to say the title, because, yeah, real name and whatnot, but, yeah, it's one of the most different films I've ever edited. The runtime's like 45 minutes, which at that point, I don't really know what to particularly call it, because, you know, it's not short, so I don't know if I would consider it a short film, but it's also not long enough to be a feature, so I don't know what to really classify it as. But it is an adaptation for like a book and whatnot, on like this, I'm not going to say it, never mind. But yeah, that was interesting, going to that fucking premiere as an actual like crew member and whatnot, meeting up with a bunch of the crew again, caught up with some people that I hadn't seen in a while, been like passively following through Instagram and whatnot, and holy shit, dude. So my role was, I was on set every day for this film last year, as continuity, as well as just helping out generally around the set, and like a couple of props here and there. But I myself was not doing the audio mix, because, I mean, you know, I'm an editor, you know, there's very much a skill, and would rather someone else, you know, that knows how to use, like, Pro Tools, for example, or fucking anything else besides mixing the audio of your film in Premiere. So, we had one of our, like, you know, savvy members working on this, and, you know, I get that they had other prior commitments, but holy shit, the premiere was so embarrassing because the audio was so fucked. And, well, I don't know if I call it fucked, it's more so just like, I don't know what the hell, like, they'd apparently been working on it, but I don't see any progress at all. Like, constantly throughout the film, like, you know, there's a scene where someone's on the phone. And with these sorts of scenes, if, you know, you don't have the other actor at the time, it's just the director off to the side or someone else reading the lines so that you can actually have a back and forth dialogue. And, like, I just dragged and dropped the audio recorded for the opposite side of the phone conversation, like, over the top. And, you know, just for, like, reference and whatnot, so the mixer can go in there and actually fix it. But you can very much still hear the director in the background. And, oh, dude, it was so goddamn embarrassing. Or even, like, a lot of the audio, like, you know, depending on certain situations we had, well, I mean, just schedule-wise, we had to have different on-set audio recorders and people operating the boom arm, the boom mic, you know, the lavs, which are the little mics that clip on underneath clothes and whatnot. And so, I mean, naturally, everyone's going to have their own, like, you know, specified and, you know, levels that they want to work with. But there was times where obviously they just, you know, didn't account for times where, like, their voice would suddenly raise and then go back down, and it would just like peak, which if you don't know what that means, it's basically just like it gets so loud that it just gets like real distorted and sounds real shit. And yeah, there was a lot of that throughout the entire film, and it just wasn't fixed, and I don't know what the hell they were working on, because every single time I'm just like waiting for this one audio thing to be fixed, and it just wasn't. So I don't know whether or not they're going to continue using that person. But yeah, shit, it was just so embarrassing, because it was the official event, and like we had like, you know, actual people in the industry there to watch the film, and like, you know, they were talking to me afterwards and whatnot, and they're just like, oh, what'd you think? And I'm like, yeah, you know, kind of been embarrassed with that audio, to be honest, and there's times where it just like freeze or just cut out, and I'm like, oh. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just embarrassing. Holy shit. So yeah, that was that experience from that. But yeah, I mean, you know, that'll at least go into festivals. It'll be worked on a lot more, get my name out there, so that'll be nice. I'll have a few films going into festivals this year / next year, I think, at this point, so we'll be yeet. I don't know what I'm saying. Time to move on to the next thing. Yeah, basically, like, this week, as I've been saying, I haven't been doing much of fucking anything, apart from, like, waiting for this goddamn email to come in. And so I've just been like, I don't, like, what the hell do I do? And one of my friends hit me up end of last week saying that they had found a penny board at Kmart, which is like, you know, the sort of really small sort of skateboard. And it was like a knockoff, like $15. And they're like, hey, do you want to like learn how to skate with me? And I'm like, you know what? I've actually always kind of wanted to learn how to skate, so I'm like, hell yes, I went and fucking bought one. And I've been practicing by myself, because I'm just like, you know, they're like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I'm like, I don't know if I can, I'm waiting for this email. So I've just been going down to my local, like, park that's near me, that has a giant car park. And so I've just been going down to the shaded area and just, like, fucking around on the skateboard down there and trying to learn how to skate, which has been a whole fucking new endeavor, to say the least. I've already eaten shit, not overly hard, but enough to where you look at the fucking scrape of my arm, on my left arm. I might throw a picture on screen now. It's also not that much in a great state at the moment. I probably need to clean it a little bit more, because it's scraped on the fucking, the tar. Is it tar the right word? Bitumen. Yeah, the bitumen of the, of the car park road. But, yeah, it's a lot harder, but also not, than I would have thought it would be. Because basically, like, you know, you're dumb if you don't do any sort of, like, research beforehand. And, so I watched up a couple of YouTube tutorials. I just had a stroke midway. YouTube tutorials on, how to actually ride it properly. And, you know, feet placement and, you know, learning to, like, pretending you're, like, almost walking as you're, like, using it and whatnot, and building up to putting 2 feet on the board, and then learning to turn, and then, you know, once you're comfortable with your balance, then being comfortable to pedal to continue your momentum, and then turning and all this other fucking stuff. And I've just been, like, fucking around for a couple hours each day, pulling out my phone, checking messages, and just, you know, every couple minutes, and then checking if that email's there. No, it's not. And even if I do get it, I'm, like, literally 2 minutes away from my house, so I could just, like, I could just zip fucking back again. So it was no fucking issue there. But, yeah. I scraped up my arm pretty fucking bad. And also, I don't know, like, overly, like, well, I mean, I kind of know what I did, but on Monday, I want to say it was, well, previously, there's a guy that I hang out in the sauna with sometimes, or catch up with. He's one of the PTs at my local gym, and he's been complimenting me on a lot of my progress on, like, weight loss, which, you know, is weird to fucking, like, hear, because I haven't particularly lost so much weight, as more of I've just toned myself a lot more. Like, I've been struggling to, like, I've been fluctuating between about 95 to 96 kilos for, like, a year, and now I'm at 90, 93, 94, because I just lost that like weight while I was sick, and I've just kept it off now. And also my appetite is just like a really weird. I think it just might be the shit that I'm going through at the moment. But yeah, my appetite's just nowhere near. Like I'm hardly eating food at the moment, and that's like a whole other like thing too that I don't know how to deal with, because it's like, go to bed somewhat late, wake up like later than because of it, and then it's just like, wake up at like 9:30, might have like a muesli bar, hardly get that down, and then it gets around to I'm just like working on stuff, whatever the fuck, it ends up being like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then I'm like, shit, I need to have lunch, and then I make lunch or buy lunch, and I can hardly eat anything, because you're getting to the state where I get over hungry, where your body gets into a point where it's just like, hey, I'm hungry, oh, you're not giving me any food, alright, guess we're working with what we have. And then even though you feed yourself, your body's just like, hey, what the fuck? We're doing this now. Too late. And so even though you know you need to eat, you fucking physically can't. And it's just, I don't know, it's a real, I don't know what the fuck, dude. I think it's just, yeah, all the shit that I'm also like dealing with at the moment. Personal stuff. But yeah, I don't know, that's been real hard. How did I get onto this? Oh yeah, the gym stuff. Wait. Oh, yeah. Wow, immediately went off a bit of a sad tangent there for a second. Yeah, the PT recommended, especially from like my body type and such, and for my goals, to try and focus on the bigger style workouts. So, fuck off email. So, your deadlifts, your squats, your leg press, your benching, said try and keep stuff like curls to like a minimum, because, it'd be better for your body weight and whatnot, and your body shape. So I'm like, oh, okay, so I want to do some benching on Monday. And immediately as I unracked, I felt my shoulder, like, have a sharp pain in it. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on here? And, I don't know, for some fucking reason, I'm just like, that's weird. And then I just ignored it. I decided to fucking do my entire bench and then do like another chest thing. And I immediately regretted it the next morning and that night, because my shoulder is still in pain at the moment, and it is currently Thursday, I think. It's nowhere near as bad as it was, but like raising it and like moving it around hurts a lot. And now coupled with my fucking giant scrape on my left elbow, like my left arm is just a hindrance to me at this point. Like even fucking last night, I was like watching fucking some stand-up in bed to make me feel better. And I go to lean on my goddamn arm, and then I'm like, oh, Christ, my shoulder, my elbow, fuck, I can't put any weight on it. And it just fucked me up even more. And I'm like, oh my lord, I'm a giant mess right now. So yeah, that fucking sucks donkey dicks. So yeah, I'm in a lot of pain, is the TLDR. But, yeah, speaking of things that I was watching, I watched the first episode so far of the Black Mirror Season 5. Can't remember what it was called. I'll try and keep spoilers to, like, a light minimum so it doesn't ruin it for you, because it's definitely, it's something you want to watch sort of fresh. But basically, the themes that this particular episode deals with is, VR and how that can mess with your perception of, real life, and how those two worlds can mix together. But also, like, sexual relations in VR and the online world and stuff. And, I don't know, especially, like, having experienced stuff now, like I have a VR knockoff VR headset that I can whack my phone in that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I fucking bought for VR porn. But now that I've experienced stuff, like, I feel really weird. Like, like, going back and potentially trying it again, I don't know if that's something I want to, because, I don't know, I don't want to build that, like, artificial, like, VR, especially sort of, like, relationship. Like, I'd much rather, like, it be physical, or, like, someone that I know exists, and that I can talk to, and hold, and stuff like that. Someone that I can actually, be there with. Yeah, and I don't know, I guess that kind of just, like, fucked with me, like, pretty hard, because I'm just like, yeah, that's a good point, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I want to cross into this, like, whole thing, but it's just, like, I don't know, like, before I ever had, like, a girlfriend, like, I didn't care about this sort of stuff, and it's just like, fucking VR porn's fucking great, But now that I've experienced this stuff, I can't go back to that. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to mess up my brain, and I don't know, I guess I'd just much rather, like, share that with a physical human, rather than, it's some porn actress that's acting, just to try and, like, help get me off, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's just get into questions, I guess. Yeah. So if you want to send any questions, queries, topics, or any of that sort of stuff, you can send it through my Discord. The link will be in the description down below. Make sure you whack it in the GreenCast channel, and I'll read it out. I asked, like, last week and then didn't record because stuff. But yeah, I have some questions ready to go, so I'm about to go through them now. Oh, also, if you want to be anonymous, you can email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com, with an S, yeah. Let's see. Summerot10 asks, what's your thoughts on Pokemon Sword and Shield? I don't know, to be honest, because it's just like, I don't know, I'm excited about it, for sure, but also I don't have a Switch, and I don't know if I will get one, or get one for a good while. I mean, I only just got a 3DS, like, 5 months ago, to be able to play and catch up on, like, the last 5 Pokemon games that I've missed. And yeah, sure, it looks cool as fuck, and a lot of the new Pokemon look really cool as well, and, excited for England and that sort of stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna get a Switch, so I've kind of just been, like, weirdly, like, in the middle, I guess. Let's see. Willery says, thoughts on the new Pokemon that's already got too much porn. I mean, that's the curse of the internet, I guess, is, if it exists, there's a porn of it, but fucking hell, some shit works quicker than others. Literally, an hour or less after the original announcement of the fucking starter Pokemon for Sword and Shield, there was already Rule 34 of it. These cunts work so fucking quick, I don't understand. But, I don't know, yeah. Again, like, there's a whole fucking thing I'll never understand, is, like, the whole furry fucking, like, subculture thing and shit, shit like that. But yeah, overall opinion is, it's fucked. I'm gonna have a drink, bloody hell. Scully, oh yeah, also, I forgot to mention, I did a podcast with Scully last week, which is up on her channel. I'm going to link that down in the description below. Had a pretty good chat. She's very welcoming. Talked about all kinds of sort of shite and whatnot. But yeah, go give her some love. Tell her that I sent her. Tell her that I sent her. Tell her that I sent you. Because I'm sure she'll appreciate that very much. She's interviewed, like, a lot of, like, bigger people and, like, a lot of other YouTubers, but her channel just isn't growing. So yeah, go give her some love and go listen to that, because it was a good chat. But she asked, a weird food that I love. Look, I'm a fucking basic bitch when it comes to food especially, and even, like I said, lately, like, food is, at the moment, becoming very much a fucking chore for me. And, I don't know whether or not I should, like, just get some, like, up and go, or those sorts of, like, liquid sort of meals that I can just grab and eat whenever I feel, like, overly hungry to try and, like, satisfy me in my body. But yeah, I don't know if I have any, like, real weird food, but even, like, at the moment, my parents are currently road tripping Australia, and I'm looking after the house, and I have been for the past, like, 3 to 4 weeks, and I still will for, like, another 6 to 7 weeks, so I've got this entire big house to myself, and the fridge is, like, hardly, stocked at all, and I don't know particularly. Like, I'm not fucking retarded. I can cook 2-minute noodles. Well, I mean, anyone can. What's a better example of something I can cook? I can grill meat. I can cook meat. I can fucking barbecue. Basic stuff. I don't know if I've actually followed a recipe before, apart from like making a cake, which a couple of my close friends that are probably listening to this all remember that one incident of me cooking a cake, and I've learned from that. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if I have any like weird food. I've been eating a lot of bacon and eggs lately because I'm trying to like half-ass keto at least a little bit and try and eat some more like fattier sort of foods so I can like go into a bit of ketosis. But yeah, I don't know if I have any like weird foods that I particularly love. Backup Squidward asks music tastes. My music tastes are kind of like weirdly all over the place, kind of. Not a fan of pop, particularly at all in country. Not so much a fan of screamo, but apart in country, I've said that twice, but it deserves it. but like in my regular Spotify playlist, for example, like the main things that are in there at the moment is like rock. So I've just been like listening to a shit ton of like especially Queen and AC/DC, some Post Malone, some Joji, which, oh shit, his fucking new album drops in like a day, or should be well out by the time this comes out, so fucking check that shit out. Keen for new Joji album. But yeah, like rock and, especially like cyberpunk sort of stuff, and just been, especially with the cyberpunk game coming out, I've been listening to a shit ton of that sort of music, like in the background as I work or as I'm going to gym. But yeah, those are mostly the sort of music taste that I have at the moment. Snessie asks, what is your generalized point of view on us Mexicans? do you see us close enough to niggers in some form, or some of us alright? I'll be honest, I haven't had many personal experiences with Mexicans. Like, I'll be honest, the most the most exposure I've had to Mexican culture is like, Breaking Bad. But also, like, I just listened to the other week a podcast with Joe Rogan, and I can't remember his fucking name, but it was like a more recent one, who is a police officer. Actually, no, I think he's DEA in Mexico, in the highest city in the world with the highest like murder and drug culture. And it was an interesting conversation, and just talking about like Mexico and how fucked it is, and people constantly killing each other and gang members, and I don't know, man. I mean, like, I guess my overall view of like Mexico and Mexicans has been like kind of tainted a lot by like media and that sort of stuff, and I feel like that's a lot with like Muslims in Israel and those sorts of like Arabic countries especially, just been tainted by the media. But for somewhat good reason, I guess. Like, even though, like, again with the Mexico stuff, like, they were also talking about how in hotels and, with tourists and stuff, they very much know that that's still part of their economy, and they know very much not to touch or even, go near those sorts of places, and have pacts to not harm tourists and outside people. But yeah, I mean, again, just haven't had that much experience. I mean, the only country that I've been to, apart from Australia, was New Zealand when I was younger, and that doesn't even fucking count, because it's basically just Australia 2.0, but with better mountains. Good old Lucas, which is a mad lad on Patreon that made me do the My Name Jeff video, says, what are your thoughts on the new Vegemite shapes? Which, for international listeners, shapes are like probably one of the, if not the biggest, like savory biscuit manufacturers, or like type of biscuit in Australia. There's like the big flavors are pizza, barbecue, cheese and bacon, chicken, and I want to say original, but I don't think there is an original. But yeah, they recently came out with this like a special edition called Vegemite shapes, which are actually surprisingly good, because they're like Vegemite with a hint of butter, And dude, my dad's been fucking eating this shit up. It's his favorite goddamn biscuit at the moment. Like, because it's limited edition, he came home with like fucking 6 boxes because he wanted to make sure he didn't bloody run out. But yeah, I think it's okay. I don't know if it'd be something that I'd be like, munching on casually. Good old Star asks, when we have the famous YouTuber Star Reviewer on? I'll probably have you on at some fucking point, dude. I have no question. But then they also ask, do you like seafood? Because I think it's fucking gross. I agree. Finally someone that agrees with me. I don't like seafood. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, I used to eat, like, fish a lot more when I was younger, but I've just gone off it now, and, like, the thought of seafood just fucking disgusts me. Which I know is, like, a bad thing, because I know especially for, like, gym and, it's one of the best, like, meats and healthiest meats that you can possibly have. It's fish. But I don't know, I also, like, properly haven't sat down to eat it, so I actually don't know my opinions on fish at the moment. I've always just been, like, turned my nose up at it. And every time I go to a fish and chip shop, I just get a bunch of, like, hot chips. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, I haven't given it a proper chance, I guess, but I don't know, the thought of it fucking disgusts me, I guess. Bax15 asks, what is your favorite dream place to visit? Immediately the first place that comes to mind that I'd love to visit in the future is Japan. I know fucking nothing of Japanese. I don't watch anime, so I can't even fucking, be a weeaboo and be like, I learned Japanese through watching anime and subtitles. Like, no, I don't even have any of that. But fucking the YouTube recommendation has caught on to this. Where I watched, like, one video of, like, how to navigate Japan, or Japan hotels, or how to save money while you go to Japan, and yeah, I'm going on a bit of a binge, like, the past, like, month on, like, Japan as, like, a whole, and I feel like it's just such a different culture, especially to, like, Australia. I think it'd be really nice to go over there. Because it's, like, I have no doubt that I'll go to America at some point, but I don't know. Like, call me a fucking pussy or whatever, but, just all the guns over there and fucking whatnot, and I've heard from a lot of people, especially like they go to the big places, like New York is supposedly all right, but like LA especially, with like the creative fucking domain of like the industry that I'm trying to get into, is apparently a shithole and just riddled with crime and everything else, and overly just unsafe. So I don't know. I guess it'd also like be nice to actually properly go on like a holiday to New Zealand as well. Road trip around, go see what a workshop. That'd be fucking dope. I think that's honestly one of my dream jobs. I think is working at Weta Workshop. I think. But yeah, Japan immediately number 1, and then New Zealand I think number 2, because I mean it's fucking just over there. Uncle Ivan asks, what do you think about Clive Palmer? Again, for international audiences, Clive Palmer. How do I fucking explain Clive Palmer? So, Clive Palmer is... Okay, so... You might know who he is, international audiences. He was the guy who was apparently going to fund the Titanic 2. And also famously had a golf course that had a shit ton of dinosaurs that went fucking bankrupt because he spent too much money and charged too much to entry. So he's famous for blowing money on dumb shit and trying to get into politics. And this past electoral season, he spent $60 million on advertising, but he's also famous, especially like in the meme community, because he's very much hip with the kids, as you might say. Because it's obvious that, like, I don't know whether or not it's his grandkids or his sons or whatever the hell, but people are memeing on Clive Palmer, and he's very much embraced the meme, with stuff like, when you go on, like, Tim Tam runs and stuff like that, or, like, specifically, there was literally a sponsored post he did ages ago that, like, come in my Facebook, and, he starts recording, and then you hear Clive Palmer go, is it recording? And then you hear the son go, go. And then you see him like fucking snap into character, and I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, he spent $60 million this past electoral season on advertising. He didn't get a single seat. So yeah, I mean, probably not the best idea to elect a meme into your parliament. My name is Donald Trump. I'm not trying to get political and everything, but yeah, that's not worked out that well at all, particularly. Alright, another drink time. What else do I have to talk about? The other stuff that I've been dealing with. I'm not going to overly say on what it is that's been troubling me and all the stuff that I'm dealing with, because I've no doubt that they're probably going to listen to this, so, I'm being respectful and trying to be as respectful as I can with not giving any sort of details, but, oh, Jesus Christ, man. I've had so many firsts this past month, and, I'm so glad for all the experiences and regret none of it. I'm glad that I was with them, and it's just so hard now, especially when you get mixed signals and you don't know how to, process them. And I mean, again, the whole thing, I guess, came down to, miscommunication, and I guess that just fucking sucks that that's what it was, and couldn't work through it and see each other's perspectives a lot better than I thought we could have. Yeah, I mean, again, you probably doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on, but please be also respectful to the opposite party as well. I've got no hard feelings towards them at all. Still very much care about them and whatnot, but yeah, don't overly, just respect them and just live in the moment and try and be happy with what you have, I guess. Because you never know when it could be gone. I'm sorry this is getting real fucking sad, and I've never been like this on a podcast, especially to you guys in an audience. But I feel like, I know I don't share, overly personal stuff with you guys and, without the face and whatnot, but I feel like it's good to share at least me dealing with especially emotions, because it's a human thing to do. And especially with YouTube and everyone putting on, overhyped personalities and hyping themselves up, it's okay to be sad, but, it's just something you gotta work through and try and better yourself, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to really particularly say. Yeah, we're still on good terms, I think. I honestly don't know at this point. Yeah. Again, don't go after them. Don't say anything to them. Please don't, overly DM me about it. I've got a fucking amazing support group of friends, both online and offline. Yeah. I don't know, fucking secret phrase. I don't know what to even make it this week. How about fucking, whatever, just embrace it, sad. If you made it the whole way through this fucking whole thing and ended up being, making it through this depressive fucking state at the end, yeah, just include sad in your comment, and how you got through it. Because I don't know, again, I've never dealt with this sort of stuff before, and I guess it's just something that I have to learn how to deal with. Yeah, alright. I'll catch you later, cunts. Try not to bully me too hard.